Ethan Ward never believed he was special. He was an ordinary man with an ordinary job, the kind of person people pass on the street without noticing. But on one summer evening, everything changed. It started with a loud crash, a scream, and a fire that rose into the sky like a bright orange monster. Ethan was walking home from work when he heard the explosion. A bus had crashed into a fuel truck on the bridge above the river. Flames spread fast, trapping people inside the bus. Smoke filled the air, and the smell of burning metal grew strong. Everyone around him panicked, shouting and running away. But Ethan did the opposite. He ran toward the fire. The bridge shook under his feet as he climbed the broken railing. He could hear people screaming for help. Children cried. Metal groaned as the bus leaned dangerously toward the edge. Without stopping to think, Ethan jumped onto the bus and forced the emergency door open. Hot air hit his face, burning his eyes, but he ignored the pain. "Come on! Move!" he shouted, pulling people out one by one. A woman collapsed in his arms. A boy clung to his shirt. Ethan carried them to safety, coughing as smoke filled his lungs. Every time he reached the safe zone, more screams came from the bus. And every time he went back, the fire grew stronger. The truck's fuel tank was seconds away from exploding. Ethan knew it. He felt the heat rising like a wave preparing to crush everything. But there were still 2 passengers left, a little girl and an old man who couldn't walk. His heart pounded. But he pushed forward. He lifted the old man onto his shoulders and guided the girl with his free hand. The flames surrounded them now. The whole world felt like fire. Ethan stumbled but kept going. He didn't think about himself. He only thought about getting them out. He reached the edge of the bridge again. Just as he handed the girl to a firefighter, the fuel tank blew. A massive blast threw Ethan into the air. His body slammed onto the road. Everything went silent. The firefighters rushed to him. His pulse was weak. His breathing stopped. Ethan Ward died. For 60 long minutes, his heart did not beat. Doctors at the emergency room tried everything: shocks, injections, chest compressions. Nothing worked. But they did not stop. Something about the look on his face, calm even in death, made them try again. Then something strange happened. A soft glow appeared around Ethan's chest. At first, the doctors thought it was a reflection from the hospital lights. But it grew brighter white and blue, like a small star trapped in his body. The machines flickered. The room temperature dropped. For a moment, everyone felt a strange presence, as if something unseen had entered the room. One doctor stepped back, shivering. "Are we seeing this?" she whispered before anyone answered. Ethan's heart monitor beeped once, twice. Then it began beating steady and strong. Ethan gasped and opened his eyes, but he did not see the doctors. He did not see the hospital room. Instead, he saw a place filled with glowing shapes and moving lights. He felt weightless, floating in a silent space. A tall figure made of shimmering silver light appeared before him. A soft voice spoke inside his mind. "You gave your life to save them. You are chosen." Ethan tried to speak, but no sound came. The glowing figure drifted closer, placing a hand over his heart. The light pulsed through him, warm and powerful. "When the time comes," the voice said, "someone will come seeking you. Remember this moment." Suddenly the vision broke apart like glass. Ethan sat up in the hospital bed, gasping for air. The doctors froze in shock that he was alive, but Ethan didn't feel normal. Something inside him had changed. Something watched him from the darkness behind his thoughts. Yet no one believed his story about the glowing figure. They said it was the mind protecting itself. He never argued, but deep inside, Ethan knew the truth. He had crossed the line between life and death, and something on the other side had noticed him. What he didn't know was that his sacrifice had sent a signal across the stars. And that signal was already being followed. Someone, or something, was now coming for him. 15 years passed like pages turning in a book Ethan never meant to read. He tried to live quietly, far away from fire, danger, and the memory of that glowing figure who spoke to him on the edge of death. He moved to a small town near the mountains, working at a repair shop, fixing things that were easier to understand than his own past. People in town liked him. He was calm, kind, and always ready to help. But nobody knew the truth. Ethan carried a secret that never left him. Some nights he woke up with a start, heart racing, as if someone had called his name. Other nights he saw flashes of blue light under his skin, glowing faint like an ember waiting to burn again. He told himself it was just stress, just imagination. He wanted to believe that. But the universe had other plans. It started with the sky. For weeks, Ethan noticed strange lights above the mountains, soft streaks of silver moving too fast to be planes, too silent to be helicopters. At first he ignored them, but the lights kept returning each night, always stopping above the same patch of forest, then disappearing into the clouds. One evening, after closing the shop, Ethan stood outside and watched the dark horizon. The stars seemed brighter than usual, almost sharp. The air had a strange hum, like a distant engine running. He rubbed his arms. Just tired, he whispered. But deep inside, he knew this was the same feeling he had 15 years ago, the moment before the world changed. Ethan lived alone in a small wooden cabin by the lake. It was peaceful, but sometimes too quiet. The only sounds were the water moving gently and the wind touching the trees. Yet tonight, something felt wrong. The silence was heavier. The air felt thick. When he entered his cabin, the lights flickered. Then the radio turned on by itself. Static filled the room, sharp and loud. Ethan froze. He hadn't used the radio in months. He reached out to turn it off, but the static shifted into a repeating pattern. 3 short bursts, 1 long signal, then silence. 3 short, 1 long, silence, repeated over and over. Ethan stepped back. His heart began to pound. That's a message, he whispered. But from who? He shut the radio off and tried to calm himself. He made tea and sat on the porch, hoping the night air would settle his thoughts. Instead, the feeling of being watched grew stronger, like invisible eyes following him. Then the temperature dropped sharply. His breath turned white. The lake surface trembled, and from above the mountains, a bright silver light shot across the sky, faster than anything human made. It stopped directly above his cabin and hovered perfectly still. No sound, no movement. Just a silent, glowing shape staring down at him. Ethan stood slowly. The silver light pulsed once soft and slow, like a heartbeat. The same heartbeat he saw 15 years ago. No, Ethan whispered. It can't be. The light blinked again. Then it flew toward the forest behind his home. Ethan felt something pull inside his chest, as if an invisible string was tugging him forward. His body reacted before his mind did. He grabbed a flashlight and followed the glowing trail through the trees. The deeper he went, the more wrong the forest felt. The animals were silent. No wind moved the leaves. Even his footsteps sounded dull, swallowed by something unnatural. Then he reached a clearing. His breath stopped. In the center of the clearing stood a massive silver object, smooth, curved, and glowing faintly like living metal. It wasn't touching the ground. It floated inches above it. A ship. But not from Earth. Ethan stepped forward slowly. His flashlight flickered, then died. The ship responded to his presence, glowing brighter, humming softly like it recognized him. He remembered the voice from 15 years ago. When the time comes, someone will come seeking you. This was the moment. A thin line formed on the side of the ship. It opened like a blooming flower, revealing a soft blue light inside. Ethan shielded his eyes as a figure walked out, tall, elegant, and glowing faintly. A woman. But not human. Her skin shimmered like starlight. and her eyes were deep silver, filled with knowledge and sorrow. A crown-like symbol floated above her forehead, made of pure light. She looked directly at him, and in a voice soft as moonlight, she said, "Ethan Ward, I have crossed the stars to find you." Ethan's heart stopped. He knew the truth instantly. She was the one he had been warned about, the princess from another world, and she had come seeking him. For a long moment, Ethan could not move. He stood in the forest clearing, staring at the glowing figure who stepped out of the silver ship. She looked unreal, almost like a dream, graceful, calm, and shining with a soft light that made the whole clearing feel alive. Her silver eyes held a strange mix of sadness and hope, as if she had traveled through pain just to reach him. The alien princess took another step toward him. Leaves on the ground rose lightly as though lifted by invisible hands. The air around her pulsed with quiet energy, making Ethan's skin tingle. "Ethan Ward," she said gently, "you are exactly as the prophecy described." Ethan's voice barely came out. Who are you?" She placed her hand on her chest in a respectful gesture. "My name is Arya Valen, Princess of the Etherian Empire." The words felt too heavy, too strange, like they were not meant for the ears of a simple man who fixed machines for a living. Ethan shook his head, trying to understand. Why? Why me? Why come here? Arya looked at him with deep seriousness. "Because you died to save your people. Because your sacrifice awakened the ancient light inside you. Because your heartbeat echoes across the stars." Ethan stepped back. "No, I'm just a normal man who tried to help. 15 years ago. I didn't awaken anything." Arya responded softly, "You awakened me." Ethan froze. Before he could speak again, the forest around them began to shift. Birds burst from the trees as a loud crackling noise echoed through the air. Arya's expression changed instantly. Her calm eyes turned sharp. "They found me," she whispered. "Who?" Ethan asked. Arya lifted her hand. The glowing patterns on her wrist brightened. "You must stay behind me." A dark shape broke through the clouds, descending quickly. It wasn't like Arya's smooth, bright ship. This one was jagged, black, and growling with an angry red glow. The sound it made was harsh, like metal tearing itself apart. Ethan felt fear curl around his spine. Arya stepped forward, her body glowing brighter. "Do not move, Ethan. They cannot take you." The enemy ship crashed into the trees at the edge of the clearing, shaking the earth. Flames burst out. A door slammed open, and armored figures marched out, tall, heavy, and carrying weapons that hummed with deadly energy. Ethan's legs went weak. Arya's voice dropped to a whisper. "They follow my bloodline. They want the power inside you." "What power?" "I don't have." "Yes, you do," she said firmly. "When you died, you were touched by the source light. Only Etherians should carry such energy, yet you, a human, survived it. That makes you a target." Ethan tried to deny it, but deep inside he remembered the glow in the hospital room. The strange heartbeat. The voice calling him, chosen. He swallowed hard. "What do we do?" Arya closed her eyes for a moment. A harsh wind circled around her, making her silver hair float like it was underwater. "Trust me," she said. The soldiers raised their weapons. Red light formed at the tips. Arya lifted her hands and slammed them together. A wave of blue light exploded outwards like a shockwave. Leaves ripped off trees. Energy crackled through the air. The armored soldiers were thrown back violently as the wave hit them. Their weapons shattered. Ethan stared in disbelief. What are you?" Arya turned to him, breathing hard. "Someone who crossed galaxies to reach you." The remaining enemies regrouped. They aimed again. Arya grabbed Ethan's arm. "Into the ship, now." He stumbled into the glowing entrance. The inside of the craft was smooth and warm, humming like a living creature. The door sealed behind them just as red beams from the enemy weapon struck its outer hull. Ethan fell into a seat, overwhelmed. Why are they attacking us? Why are you even here? Arya touched the ship's control panel. The vehicle lifted off the ground silently. Because my world is dying, she said quietly. And because the only person who can save it is you. Ethan felt his stomach drop. Me? I can't even save myself. Arya looked at him with calm certainty. You already saved many lives once. And your sacrifice awakened the source light inside your heart. That makes you the only one who can activate the ancient device on my world. Ethan shook his head. I don't know anything about devices or worlds. Or lights. You will, Arya said gently. Outside, the enemy ship rose to chase them. Inside, Ethan's life was changing faster than he could breathe. Arya placed her hand on his arm. I did not cross the stars to force you. I crossed them to ask for your help. Ethan looked at her, truly looked, and saw fear in her eyes. But also trust. Far below them, the forest burned. Far above them, stars waited. And in Ethan's chest, something began to glow, soft, familiar. Alive. The same light from 15 years ago. The light that had called the princess across the galaxy. He whispered, almost to himself. What am I becoming? Arya answered softly. The ship rose higher into the night sky, leaving the burning forest behind. Ethan sat frozen in his seat while Arya guided the craft through the clouds. Outside, lightning flashed, but the ship moved gently, as if the storm could not touch it. Ethan's thoughts raced in circles. A dying world. Enemies from the stars. A princess who traveled galaxies to find him. And the strange light inside his chest. The same one that brought him back from death. Nothing made sense. Arya, he said finally, I need answers. Real answers. The princess looked at him with calm seriousness. And you shall have them. She touched a panel on the ship. The walls shimmered and turned transparent like glass. Suddenly, Ethan could see the entire night sky around him, endless stars, stretching in all directions. Arya stood in front of the glowing window, her silver hair falling down her back. Ethan, she began softly. 15 years ago, when you died, your soul touched the source light. Ethan frowned. What is the source light? It is the oldest power in our universe, Arya explained. A pure energy that formed before worlds existed. My people, the Etherians, are born with a small part of it. It guides us, heals us, connects us. She turned toward him, her eyes glowing faintly. But humans are not meant to carry it. The source light should burn your body. Yet you lived. Ethan shook his head. I don't understand. I didn't choose anything. I didn't know about any of this. Arya stepped closer. You didn't need to choose. The light chose you when you gave your life to save others. Ethan's chest tightened. He remembered the little girl, the old man, the flames, the explosion. He remembered the peace he felt before the world vanished. Maybe something had touched him in that moment. Arya continued. The moment your heart stopped, a pulse of source light spread across the stars. My people felt it. We believed a new guardian had awakened. Guardian? Ethan repeated, confused. Arya nodded. Thousands of years ago, the source light chose rare beings to protect balance in the universe. But no guardian has risen in many ages. We thought the light had gone silent forever. Until your sacrifice. Ethan stared at her. So you think I'm one of these guardians? I fix machines and drink cheap coffee. I'm not anyone important. Arya gave a small, sad smile. That is exactly what makes you worthy. Guardians are not born powerful, they are born selfless. Ethan looked away, overwhelmed. What about your world? He asked quietly. Why is it dying? Arya's expression darkened. She touched another panel, and a hologram appeared showing a beautiful world with floating cities, rivers of shining light, and tall crystal towers. Then the image changed. The rivers dimmed. The towers cracked. Darkness spread across the land like a disease. "This is Etherin," she whispered. "My home." Ethan watched in silence. For centuries, we lived in harmony with the source light, but something has disturbed it. A machine, ancient and dangerous, has awakened beneath our planet. It drains the light, feeding on it. If it continues, Etherin will fall into darkness forever. And I'm supposed to stop that? Ethan asked. Arya nodded. Only someone who carries the pure source light within their heart can deactivate the machine. The device responds to courage, the same courage you showed the day you died. Ethan felt a strange pull inside his chest, a warmth spreading slowly outward. The same glow he had seen so many times flickered beneath his skin. "But what if I fail?" he whispered. Arya placed her hand gently over his heart. Her touch was warm, steady, comforting. "You already succeeded once," she said softly. "You came back from death. You saved lives. You survived something no human has survived before. You are stronger than you believe." Ethan closed his eyes. The ship hummed softly around them, like a heartbeat matching his own. When he opened his eyes again, Arya was watching him with a quiet hope. "Ethan," she said, "I crossed the stars not to command you, but to trust you. You have the heart of a guardian. Without that heart, my people, my world, will not survive." Ethan swallowed hard. The weight of her words settled over him like a storm. "You said others want this power," he said. "The ones who attacked us." Arya's eyes turned cold. "They are the Nightburn, a fallen Etherin race. They want the source light for war. If they take you, they will use your heart as a weapon." Ethan flinched. "Use my heart?" "Yes," Arya said softly. "That is why I must keep you safe." The ship suddenly shook as if struck from outside. Arya turned sharply toward the controls. "They found us again," she whispered. The stars outside shifted as a dark shape emerged behind them. The Nightburn were not done, and neither was the truth. The ship trembled again as the Nightburn vessel moved closer. Red streaks of light flashed past the windows, each one shaking the craft with a deep rumble. Ethan grabbed the armrests, fear tightening his chest. Arya touched the controls with calm precision, though worry flickered in her silver eyes. "They will not stop," she whispered. "We must move into the cloud cover." The ship dove sharply, sliding into a thick tunnel of dark clouds. Lightning cracked around them, but the enemy ship kept chasing, its glowing red lights cutting through the storm like demon eyes. Ethan swallowed hard. "They want me that badly?" Arya didn't look at him, but her voice carried a soft sadness. "Yes, Ethan. To them, you are not a person. You are a source of power they have searched for across centuries." Ethan felt cold. He wished he could go back to his quiet life by the lake, wake up to simple mornings, and believe the universe was normal. But that life was far behind him now. Burning in the forest where the princes first arrived, Arya suddenly lifted her hand, and a blue shield formed around the ship. The next attack hit the shield and bounced away in a burst of sparks. "How are you doing that?" Ethan asked. Arya hesitated before answering. "The source light responds to emotion. Courage strengthens it. Fear weakens it. I must stay calm." Ethan stared at her. She looked so young, no older than him, yet she carried the weight of an entire world. A world that was dying. "Why come for me?" he asked quietly. "There must be someone on your planet stronger than me, smarter than me, more. Anything." Arya finally turned toward him. "Ethan, I did not choose you because you are perfect. I chose you because you are human." He blinked. "That doesn't make sense." "It does," she said softly. "Etherins are born with a connection to the light, but you, someone with no training, no knowledge, risked your life for strangers. You ran toward danger when others ran away. That is something the light responds to. Ethan looked down, unsure what to say. Arya's voice softened. On my world, we say the source light watches the brave. It saw you. And it sent a message through your sacrifice. A message only we could feel. Ethan swallowed. And that message said, what? That a guardian has awakened on a distant world. Someone who could save my people. The ship steadied. Arya sat beside him, close enough that he could see the faint glow under her skin. There is an ancient device on Etherin, she continued. It was built thousands of years ago by our ancestors. They created it to protect the source light, but something corrupted it. Now it drains the light instead of guarding it. And you think I can stop it? Arya nodded. Only someone whose heart holds pure source light can shut it down. That is you, Ethan. Ethan shook his head. But I don't have powers. I can't fight aliens. I don't even know how to breathe in space. Arya smiled softly. You will not face anything alone. Her gentle confidence made something warm spark in Ethan's chest. He didn't know whether it was courage or fear pretending to be courage, but it was something. Before he could respond, the ship jolted violently. The Nightburn vessel had burst through the cloud layer, red lights blazing. Arya's expression hardened. They want to disable our engine. I must act quickly. She pressed a glowing symbol. The ship suddenly accelerated, shooting into the upper atmosphere. The country below shrank. The sky grew darker. Ethan stared as stars filled the window again. They were leaving Earth. His breath caught. Arya, my home, you will return, she promised softly. But for now, your world is not safe. The Nightburn will keep hunting you unless we reach Etherin and protect you. Ethan felt helpless, but he also sensed the truth in her words. The Nightburn would not stop unless he ended the reason they chased him. Arya placed something in his hands, an elegant, glowing disc. What is this? Ethan asked. A royal seal, she said. It proves your connection to me. With this, every loyal Etherin will protect you. Ethan stared at the glowing device. Why are you giving this to me? Because, Arya said softly, I am asking you to come with me, not as a prisoner, not as a weapon, but as a partner. Ethan looked into her eyes. There was trust there. Fear too. But mostly hope. I crossed the stars, she whispered. Because I believe you can save my world. The ship released a final burst of blue light. Escaping the Nightborn. Ethan closed his eyes. The weight of his choice settled in. Arya reached for his hand. Will you help us, Ethan Ward? He opened his eyes slowly, and then finally he answered. Ethan's answer had barely left his lips when the ship shuddered again. A deep alarm echoed through the cabin, vibrating the walls with sharp urgency. Arya's calm expression turned to focused determination. They are not giving up, she whispered. Ethan gripped the seat. How did they catch us again? We were in space. Arya pointed at the window. Look, a dark massive shadow rose from behind Earth's curve. The Nightburn warship, far larger than the one that attacked them in the forest, emerged like a giant, black beast climbing into the stars. Its surface glowed with red fractures, pulsing like an angry heartbeat. Ethan swallowed. That thing is huge. It is a destroyer-class ship, Arya said. Built for one purpose: capture or destroy anything that carries the source light. Meaning him, a cold fear spread through Ethan's stomach. Arya moved quickly, her fingers dancing across the glowing controls. The ship accelerated, but the destroyer-class vessel followed easily, closing the distance like a predator hunting prey. We cannot outrun them, Arya said softly. Then what do we do? Ethan asked. Arya lifted her hand toward the ceiling. We call for help. A bright beam shot upward from their ship into space, splitting into many lines like a tree of light. Ethan watched. Is that a signal? A beacon, Arya said. My people will sense it. But before the beacon fully expanded, the Nightburn ship fired. A massive red blast struck their shields. shaking the small craft so violently that Ethan nearly fell from his seat. Sparks burst from a panel. The lights flickered. Arya steadied herself, though Ethan could see the fear hidden behind her controlled breathing. "We cannot take many hits," she warned. Another blast came closer, stronger. The ship spun sideways. Ethan felt his pulse pound in his ears. "Arya, we're going to crash." "No," she said, gripping the controls. "Our fate is not written by fear." She pulled sharply upward, sending the ship into a climb so steep, Ethan felt weightless for a moment. Stars blurred around them. The destroyer-class vessel followed, firing relentlessly. The next blast hit the shield hard. A loud crack split the air. Arya's eyes widened. Shields dropping to 20%. Ethan looked around desperately. "Arya, I can't sit here doing nothing. What do you need me to do?" Arya turned to him, breath quick. "Your heart carries the source light. If you focus, even a small spark can strengthen the shield." Ethan blinked. "How do I do that?" "Remember why you sacrifice," Arya said softly. "Courage activates the light. Think of the moment you saved those people. Think of who you are." Ethan closed his eyes. His chest felt warm, like a small fire trying to grow. He remembered the bridge, the little girl, the explosion. The moment he died. And then the glow returned, soft at first, then brighter. Arya gasped. "Yes, Ethan. Now place your hand on the shield control." He pressed his hand onto the glowing panel. Instantly, the light inside him flowed outward, spreading through the ship like blue lightning. The shield flared bright. The next enemy blast hit, but this time, the shield held strong. Arya stared at him, amazed. "Ethan, you did it." He opened his eyes slowly, feeling exhausted but alive. "I don't know how, but I felt it." "We will need that strength again," Arya said, looking back at the destroyer ship. "They are preparing a full assault." The warship's front opened, revealing a massive cannon glowing deep red. Arya's voice dropped. "That is the Night Core cannon. One strike will end us." Ethan's heart raced. "We need to run." "We cannot run," she said quietly. "But we may not have to." Before Ethan could ask what she meant, space itself trembled. Lines of blue light appeared around their ship, thin at first, then expanding like a doorway opening in the cosmos. From the glowing portal, 3 sleek silver ships shot out, surrounding Arya's craft in a protective triangle. Ethan stared. "Who are they?" Arya exhaled with relief. "The Royal Guard. They answered my beacon." The 3 Aetherian ships fired beams of blue energy, striking the Nightburn destroyer. The massive ship reeled backward. Its cannon dimmed. Arya gripped Ethan's hand. "Hold on." Her ship joined the formation. Together, the Aetherian fleet pushed toward a growing portal of shimmering light, an entrance to another star system. The Nightburn destroyer tried to follow, firing wildly, but the Royal Guard shielded Arya's ship. Just as the portal expanded fully, a final red blast shot toward them. Arya pulled Ethan close. "Do not fear. We go to Aetherian now." The ship entered the portal at the exact moment the blast struck the edge. Exploding in a swirl of colors behind them, light swallowed everything. Ethan held his breath. They were leaving his world behind, and ahead of them, a new war waited. When the light faded, Ethan felt weightless. The ship drifted out of a swirling portal and into a new sky, one filled with silver nebula clouds and glowing blue stars that pulsed like living hearts. For a moment, everything was quiet, peaceful. "We made it," Arya whispered. Ethan looked at the breathtaking view. "This is incredible." Arya smiled softly. "Welcome to the Aetherian star path, the gateway to my world." The Royal Guard ships flew beside them in perfect formation. Their silver hulls glowed like diamonds, but Ethan couldn't relax. His chest felt heavy. He had crossed the universe, leaving Earth, his home, his life, all behind. And somewhere far behind them, the Nightborn were gathering strength for their next attack. Ethan rubbed his temples. What happens now? Arya touched a glowing crystal at the front of the ship. We reach Etherin, then. We ask you to save it. The portal behind them closed with a soft humda as the ship approached Etherin. Ethan stared in awe. The planet was beautiful oceans glowing like liquid sapphire, floating islands rising above clouds, towering crystal cities that shimmered like starlight. But the beauty was broken. Dark cracks spread across the planet's surface like spreading wounds. Patches of the glowing rivers had turned black. Ethan felt his throat tighten. This is your world? Arya nodded, her eyes full of sadness. And it is dying faster every day. The ship descended toward a grand city suspended in the sky. Ethan could see thousands of Etherans waiting below soldiers, elders, and children, all glowing faintly with the same silver light as Arya. When the ship landed, the doors opened slowly the moment Ethan stepped out. Silence fell across the entire platform. Everyone watched him with a mixture of awe and fear. Arya stepped beside him. Do not be afraid. They are only seeing a guardian for the first time. Ethan forced a nervous smile. I still don't feel like one. You will, Arya whispered. A tall, wise-looking Etheran stepped forward. His hair flowed like silver water, and his eyes glowed with ancient knowledge. My princess, he said, bowing. You have returned. Arya bowed back. High Elder Solon, I bring with me the human touched by the source light. The elder studied Ethan carefully. So the prophecy is true. The guardian lives. Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. I'm still trying to understand all this. The elder nodded. You will understand when you see what lies beneath our world. Arya took Ethan's hand gently. Come, it is time. They led him to a massive crystalline tower that descended into the heart of the planet. A lift of pure light carried them down, deeper and deeper, past layers of glowing stone and rivers of energy flowing through crystal veins. Air grew colder, the light grew dimmer. Arya stood close to Ethan. He could feel her trembling. Slightly. What's down there? He asked. The ancient device, she whispered. The one draining the source light. As they reached the bottom, Ethan stepped into a vast chamber, a cavern of black crystal and swirling shadows. In the center stood the machine, a towering structure of twisting metal, pulsing with dark red energy. At the moment Ethan approached it, the device reacted. Blue light burst from his chest, matching the rhythm of the machine. Arya gasped. It responds to you. Only you can shut it down. Ethan felt the pull, a strange connection between him and the ancient device. It was like the machine recognized him. Or needed him. What do I do? He asked. Arya stepped forward, voice steady but trembling with hope. You must place your hand on the core. The source light in you will reverse the drain. But, she hesitated. Ethan frowned. But what? The elder answered instead. You may not survive the process. The words hit Ethan like a stone. Arya's voice cracked. Ethan, I brought you here because you are our only chance. But I will not order you. The choice is yours. Ethan stared at the machine. The world above was dying. Arya's people were fading. He had already died once to save strangers. Could he do it again? Was he brave enough? He looked at Arya. Her eyes shined with fear but also trust. Deep, honest trust. Ethan stepped forward. I didn't come across the universe to watch people suffer, he said softly. If my life can save yours, then it's worth it. Arya's breath caught. Ethan. He smiled gently. I'll be okay. Maybe the light brought me back once. Maybe it will again. Arya took his hand, squeezing it tightly. You are not alone. Ethan turned toward the device. The core glowed like a dark heart, beating slowly. He placed his hand on it. Instantly, energy rushed through him, painful, bright, overwhelming. His body shook. His heartbeat raced. The light inside him flared brighter than ever before. Arya cried out his name, reaching for him. But Ethan only whispered one thing. For your world. I choose this. The cavern exploded with light blue and white breaking. The darkness. The machine screamed as it shut down. The planet trembled. Then grew still, and when the light faded, Arya ran forward, calling his name, not knowing whether the man who saved her world had survived his final sacrifice.